Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever we listeners and in the world. As we all know, the time around the world vary from area to area, or country to country. So as it is almost 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time in the United States, now some country, it's about midnight. Now some country do the clean, and we own country next to come. So 3:30 now America here to we and now 7:30. So now next then they look when afternoon, then evening time. So welcome to regular listeners. I hope we'll probably get some more interested parties depending on who them get the news for say we they get the NGC leader, Mr. Jesmed Suma. We go be guest today. We go talk primarily on the electricity or energy policy in Sierra Leone. And I'm sure in the process of that, he go try to explain to we what he thinks are the causes of the continued problems we would get with electricity in plain man language, blackouts. I hope it will tell you which now why we get inability, government after government after government. This was just the past government and this current government, even before the previous government, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. They've been having difficulty. I'm sure it could be able to tell we then, of course, it will tell we watching at the fault of the current system, then it will tell us the solution where NGC get in mind. I want level listeners them understand for say again, NGC is one of the we of course I need not try to educate people about what NGC is, a political party. And we always Sierra Leone with a wish forget what we call a viable or alternative government to current government or whatever government is in power. What we say viable, or what viable mean if that government they loses an election or is put out by constitutional means. We want an opposition party or an alternative party or an alternate party where go kind of power and hit the ground running. Not to a government who will come for can begin learn the tricks of the ropes or the rings. So now that when they use the word viable in political science, they mean government that is in readiness. The analogy we go give now like anybody who familiar with sports or maybe they play football. Back home, we in America, we call it soccer because they want to distinguish football. We own football, or they play with foot, with the American football. So yeah, they rather call it soccer. Back home over there, they play soccer. I think every school, mostly the school leagues were very important, particularly if you are if you go school in the southern province, Abo. Now that will be get mostly because we'll not be get like Freetown, we get Division 1, they get Blackpool, Eastern Lion, Olympics, all the one in there. So the secondary school soccer league were very important. So, but the point I want to make now, what we get, what we call second 11, and are the 11 other players them. What are the alternate players then? Those players were in readiness in case something wrong with any player in a first 11, get hurt, get sick. We get people away competent who go put in the place of that player there, who will not say go play as well, if not better. Okay, the coach just simply exercising discretion of put that person there in the game at the time. So what we say viable, we get for begin for use that word viable. We don't want anybody that can have power for can begin learn how for run government. You see, because you go to that will be much too late because so much damage will have been caused. So the NGC party, as well as some other minority parties, Mr. Suma probably were able to explain to we which direction they go and how could they become a viable party in case the situation arises. So let me just remind we listeners them also about the various numbers they're waiting for call. Well, today is June 2nd, Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. But let me also remind the listeners them about some of the links them or the numbers that they can call for reach we in case they get questions, because you know this show here, as it is with most of the shows now, VOS, it's live. So people are free to call in and we can answer questions them live on the show. So a lot of times we get for the people who they listen to it, they know whose numbers them for call, but on the way, sometimes you go know the number for call or you misplace, and so we always like for remind we listeners them. If you call from North America, we just include Mexico, Canada, and the United States. We'll get what you call a toll-free line. And for people within America, Canada, they know it's a toll-free line. But for people with the outside, because the reason why also that is necessary, we once a few times had people who would be called from Sierra Leone a toll-free line, and they end up paying because they did not know the difference between the toll-free line and the restrictions placed on toll-free lines. So if you're in Mexico, you're in America, the United States, or you're in Canada, you can use the 1-866-944-772 number. 1-866-944-772 number. You can use them, they're free. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're there outside the 3 countries they were just named and you want for call in, we get some other numbers them. Well, let me just go straight to the WhatsApp number. So let's say if you're not there in Mexico, you're not in the United States, you're not in Canada, but you want call at no cost to you, so we can call the WhatsApp number. When 1-343-997-5828. You can call from anywhere in the world. 1-343-997-5828 for free. Okay? So with these two out of the way, as far as the free calls are concerned, there are a couple of other calls, depending on what country you call from. We'll give you choices for either use WhatsApp or you own local line. Like if you're calling from England, we'll get what you call +44 20 80 89 1455. +44 20 80 89 1455. Sorry. +44 20 80 89 1455. That is if you call from the United Kingdom, particularly from London area. If you call from Australia, likewise, you can call from +61 29 09 84 337. +61 29 09 84 337. So that will give you free access to a telephone where not going to cost you anything. We also carry the show on a radio station in Freetown. In case you did Freetown, you want to exercise an option of listening over the radio, maybe because you did drive, stationary. So you can call 91.9 FM. Mostly you get for dinner the Freetown area, the eastern part of Freetown, mostly for make you able to get that, but that's available to you too. Or you can download Voice of VOS television on the mobile app. So you can go to the Google App Store or the Apple App Store for be able to download VOS television mobile app. Also, we will give you easy access for listening to a broadcast. So we also then carry on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. So there are many places for catch we and YouTube. Okay, so please do the best you can. Not feel restricted. There are several sources where you can access with for get into this broadcasting. Now, as I say, we guest today, Mr. Jesmed Suma. We thank him very much for coming and for giving all the opportunity, because we're very anxious for know what's going on at the political landscape in Sierra Leone, whether NGC has been resuscitated, whether it's still on life support, or whether it's active in the process. So Mr. Jesmed Suma will tell you all of that, or whether it was on an emergency condition, but now they know revive him and it's alive and well. So he will be able to tell us that. So with that, Mr. Suma, we welcome you. We appreciate you coming by. If you can just give me a brief introduction to the audience, and then we'll go proceed from there.
Yes. Good evening, fellow Sierra Leoneans. Good morning and good afternoon, depending on part of the world you day. Mina Jesmed F Suma, the acting chairman and leader of the party. Now focus on promoting the NGC party. Mina focus on doing business and also ideas for the NGC party together with the policy team will build on the NGC policy of subject matter experts them who the banged and try for ideas them for prepare a party for win an election in 2028. And we'll be ready for governance, forget to get party ready for governance.
Okay. Mr. Suma, we get some, basically, we're going to be talking about an alternative energy policy where we believe, say, want to focus on, NGC focus on, for try for tell we which how when we able to solve we problem or the country's problem if NGC ever gets the opportunity for run the country, what can NGC do differently from what's going on now? And then, of course, in the process, I'm sure you're going to be able to tell us. So can we just start off with what do you think, say, now the causes, knowing that we've had previous governments, successive governments, having difficulty with just getting we continued supply of energy in the country. So it's easy for talk about factories, easy for talk about investors, but there are many factors then where investors in the look at. One of the main factor is energy, continued supply of energy. If you cannot supply energy in the country, you not get a continuous supply of it. I don't know which is the incentive for somebody for can invest any significant amount of money in the country. So if you can just tell we, I don't want to restrict you, but what some of we answers for no. What has been the primary cause or the primary causes of this successive, for the past 30 or more years, difficulty in us getting guaranteed supply of energy? If you can tell with that.
Well, first of all, it's stem with the fact, say, we don't elect leaders them, we not get a vision before they come into governance. We not get a vision in terms of how to solve problems. The second of all, the issue about energy, now a very of the economy. and one way you can't solve them within 5 years. And yet, the young people when they plan, they think about the next 5 years. They think about the next 2 years. If you want to take any infrastructural development in the energy sector, in a long-lasting, generation-lasting investment into the energy factor, a minimum of 15 to 20 years investment. That's what you require. And since these guys only off and about the next 5 years, they're not committed. They're not get that kind of commitment for letting go invest in such an expensive or capital-intensive venture. The third reason, now because the thing is so capital-intensive, if they still let them undertake them, then we'll go for spend all the betu money then go for put in their pocket. So as a result, they go for way between whether do I invest in energy for the next generation or take what I can take to fill up my pocket. Because in we research we don't do within the past within the past 15 years, we government of Sierra Leone don't receive close to $1 billion. When much of it na loan, we will go for the pay for the next 20 years. And some of it na grant, we don't receive from World Bank, IMF, the United States, China, and other development partners. And yet, instead of them take the actual action for begin for invest in the infrastructure of energy production, then decide for sign contract to some kind ship with the Turkish company, we then call car power ship, where then they bring them generator. The car power ship now like any generator we get now use, but this is a massive big generator where they didn't see, they didn't inside ship. Now that no more than a car power, not anything different. Like a generator we gonna use. That same generator, that type there, but a massive industrial size, then put in a water inside ship. Then pass cable, then connect them to a grid line for supply free tongue. Because you know the reach upline, you know the reach Kabbalah, you know the reach Falaba, now inside Western area no. To them, that is satisfactory. But to NGC, that is not satisfactory. That is why when we think about energy production or energy generation and supply of energy to the nation, we think holistically. We think for the people that waiting at the extreme corner of Alaba, extreme corner of Kalaun, extreme corner of Pujaun, extreme corner of Cambia, extreme corner of Putloko, extreme corners of the nation of Kono district. How do we get energy to them? That's the focus we drive the energy policy of the NGC party, guided by 3 fundamental principles. 1, affordability. Affordability. How we go able to provide energy where the people and we will afford. 2, accessibility. How we go able to provide energy where the people and we will forget access to. Because there is no point for that say we get energy supply, but the energy supply in a free tongue, the person they can down. He has no access to it. So accessibility is another one. Sustainability. How are we going to be able to provide this energy infrastructure that is going to last one generation after the other? Signing contract with a ship on the sea, that is not sustainable because it drains our foreign reserves. It pumps money into our money out of our foreign reserve. And that make the Turkish man and then find it easy for humiliate to the world, then cut off their line. So those are the reasons why we not get energy solution all these years. Our energy penetration is like less than 27%. In other words, the entire Sierra Leone, if you put them together, you analyze how many households get access to electricity at an average of 4 hours a day, is less than 27%. The average is sub-Saharan 30%. That's the bad situation inside sub-Saharan over 30%. Places like Ghana, every coast, then suddenly they get over 40, 50, some of them 60% energy penetration. Senegal, they get a large penetration of energy supply. And yet some of them countries there, we get as much mineral resources as them when you compare to the population size. yet they are able to provide it, and we have been failing for over 62 years, since 1961 to now.
Some of them countries here we just named, I think almost every one of them, they seem larger than we country, and they have more population than we country. So, in listening to you, then you say charity begins at home. Why don't we? Others say, have you all ever thought about Paul? Because everything seems to be what the Western world or the Western countries then do. But we also they get news nowadays that there are countries in Africa that are doing fairly well. You know,
Absolutely.
countries like Botswana, you know, countries like
Rwanda.
Rwanda, exactly. I was thinking about
and Ethiopia.
So, okay, so don't we, isn't that, does it make sense for we forget to join people and they, instead of just bringing intellectuals with certificates on the wall who may not even have the actual knowledge for implement workable policies, don't you think,
very brilliant question.
yeah, don't you think these are the first basis then for try for do, and in today's world with technology as advanced as it is, where you can do conversations like I mean you did, so you did Maryland, me did North Carolina, we produce a day in Canada, so we'll be able to work out in the cheapest possible way ways by which we can piggyback on the countries there when African countries then we not too long ago we were ahead of in many respects, who are now far ahead of us. There is no shame in asking these people because we all know progress when we see progress. So for asking people say, well, I want to manage, I want to carry on. Just in context, you mentioned mineral resources. For example, you take Sierra Leone, we have a lot of diamonds and gold. You take Botswana, they have that. Yet, the last I heard was Botswana is able to work with them. I'm not trying to go off the energy thing, I just give a comparison. Botswana is able to come up with, in a way where they say they're able to realize 40 to 50% of the money we diamond bring at the country vis-a-vis that of what the foreign companies they get. Where we still the struggle, we not even get 2%. So what is wrong with us just using them comparative and think they ask we African country and African brothers them, send them and they can't teach we? Because it don't make sense for take a delegation of 20 people for go Botswana. You could bring 3 experts, that's Sierra Leone, for can't teach we, or they can even do it over Zoom, they can even do it over WebEx. So in that context, what is stopping us, if you know, from contacting countries that would do well?
Let me give you a few examples. I will cite Ethiopia, I will cite Botswana, where you don't make reference to, and perhaps to a limited extent Kenya or Ghana. Now, inside Botswana, it all starts with leadership.
For sure.
Even a human being, a family, if God deny una leadership, that particular family there is finished. A country, if God deny you the right leadership, that country is finished. Botswana started with leaders. We get a vision, they outline a vision, and run along that vision, respecting the democratic principles of the country. Even though they get a king, where the king died in Peking, where in the England, he began with Suma, he came into Botswana, he assumed the leadership, but they respected the democratic principle. Botswana then gets a large deposit of diamonds. But what they do, they not just allow any riffraff fly-by-night investor for come and scatter and give them all mining license and every minister gets your own contact and your own foreign investor, and they leak from here, government they leak from here. They didn't do that. They restricted the issue of license to very limited number of companies, like De Beers. De Beers, now one of the biggest diamond exporting company in the world. The Botswana government gets up to 15% of shares in De Beers, with exclusive rights to mine the diamonds in Botswana. And yet, they not get the right for export the diamond. You see the logic? They not get the right for export the diamond. They also created another company, when are the mineral selling agency, we get the exclusive right for export diamond. So when the bears mine the diamond, because they get the best price out of them, since they can't take them out of the country, then go sell them to this marketing company at the best market price, and the government they get your own taxes from that, in addition to the 15% shares we they get. In the one way they get on the exporting company, the government also gets shares in the exporting company. And as far as recent as 11 years or less than 11 years ago, they don't begin for polish and make jewelries inside Botswana. Obviously, Botswana government realized revenue at every level of exportation of their diamonds. That is used to be the colonial in Sierra Leone. The government of Sierra Leone under colonialists, the British, had exclusive right to minerals. But when they want to be independent, when the time for giving independent, then cajole we leaders them for agree, say that they privatize the mining industry exclusively to the private sector and allow government just collect tax from that. And yet, when they are the mines, you don't have mines for mining diamond. You see 1,000 diamonds, ranging of 100 to 200, 300 carats each. Whose government somebody where they free to go inside that mine they for tell you say they don't identify so many numbers of diamonds. It's not there. Now what report to then they begin take license now and they give all them foreigners they now across another name specific group of people that not be bias for give foreigners them mining license. Now, because of the restrictions, they begin export diamonds through Liberia and Guinea, especially Liberia in those days. In the 60s and 70s, most of the diamonds, they export them through Liberia. Then smuggle them through Liberia. So Liberia record them, you don't know to then go and mine them. Then they just pay small thing and then export them to so they're not going to go for pay reason to Sierra Leone. So that's how Sierra Leone loses money. Now let's talk about the amount of diamond. Let's say you mine over $200 million worth of diamonds for Sierra Leone, dollars worth of diamonds for Sierra Leone. Not only will they pay tax, not only they pay tax on you. After they don't break and down, then talk say they don't spend 180 million, for instance, on running the company. Now 20 million profit no more. Now no more than gets that 20 million profit. Now in the government they go tax, and right now. When other countries they get 20 or 30% of corporate tax on the minerals, Sierra Leone, as far as the last time I remember, especially during the time of Anes Kurma, that was less than 10%. Now you take 10% of 20 million, 10% of 20 million. Okay. You know, it's pathetic. 200 million, $200,000. Now you compare that one day with the $200 million worth of mineral we don't come out from we salon economy. So that's the challenge. It's all based on the leadership and the type of policies where they put across, where we're able to make sure say the country generate more from them. And that same similar concept, the type of concept where we get, where we make Sierra Leone and generate much from their mineral resources. Now that mindset they will get into our energy policy, where they can delve into now for explain to the people of South the type of energy issue in the country. So the energy sector, Like I been say I give reference to Ethiopia in terms of the energy sector. What did Ethiopia do? You remember in the 80s when Ethiopia been the struggle, where America feel sorry to any black man and the artists then come together and say we are the world, we are the children. Where them raise fund for feed starving people in Ethiopia because of drought. Not to what them get to, just drought. That Ethiopia today, the economy is 100 times that when you been there in the 80s. What thing then do? Part of because of that struggle and the struggle, plenty of them people and go to the diaspora. Plenty of the people and go Europe, then go to the Arab country, then go America, then go Australia. Also we go inside America, then get tons of Ethiopians. So what in the recent government do about 15, 20 years ago, then create what they call the diaspora bond. Then reach out to the diaspora community. Because World Bank, IMF, they've not been too trust the energy, they've not been too trust the Ethiopian government enough economically for them pay the debt. Because they're not get like me, like we get safe. But what they do, they reach out to the diasporans, then create partnership with the diasporans, then establish a diaspora bond, then use that money to invest in the energy infrastructure of the entire Ethiopia nation. That infrastructure, the way they're investing, now don't hold the foundation of the Ethiopian development today. We make Ethiopia now one of the top developing, fast-growing economy in the world, even in Africa. Even though they don't recently experience civil war, but then still, big as they are, then still able to handle a very strong infrastructure for the energy sector inside Ethiopia. Because they get leadership, we get the mindset for realizing whether you are Ethiopian inside Ethiopia or Ethiopian outside Ethiopia, you are still Ethiopian, should be respected and valued, especially if you get value for bringing come into the country. Unlike Sierra Leone, the politicians, they see Leonean diasporans as enemies. They do everything to kind of make the Sierra Leonean diaspora look bad. You get case na tongue, then take you land. The person will thief you land, or the person will sell to you fake land. You go work with the police go cheap money from you. You go to court and you say the diaspora, the judge said they join inside it. So you know they get justice as long as you're in a diaspora. But foreigner go come out from India, foreigner go come out from China, foreigner go come out from Lebanon, foreigner go come out from all sides. As he land inside Salone, they get preference pass you the Sierra Leonean. That has to do with leadership. Until we fix the leadership problem in our country, nothing is going to be differently. And there is no way that leadership change will be effected inside the SLPP government, nor will it ever happen in the APC government. The only way leadership structure will change is us alone. Now, when we change them to political party, then they bring in a transformational leadership from like and the NGC party.
Now, to me, you are so right, because I've always advocated that. We are not criticizing APC and SLPP in a vacuum. These two parties get 63 years of record of having run things in the country. There are lots and lots of materials that one can go back and look at. So once we begin to compare the two governments, then that's the mistake we make, because we all can say cumulatively in 63 years we've gone nowhere but backward.
Exactly.
We cannot show, because I mean, by any measurement, if you talk in terms of education, our education is getting worse. The standard is getting worse, not better. If you talk about efficiency in government, with system they get worse, not better. If you talk about the judicial system, of course, let me digress. Talking about the judicial system, who would have ever thought that there will come a day when a bar association meeting, government will become intrusive in such a professional meeting as to want to skew the outcome of who is elected president of the Bar Association. And then you begin to wonder, what's the interest in government wanting to interfere with a bar association? But who will have ever thought about that? So it looks like we are engaged in this trajectory of just looking for something to destroy, not something to build or to improve. So when the hammer of destruction is going around looking for something, so well, you get bar association, let's go for it. Even though bar association not get nothing to do with the government, you not get anything to do with anything else. So
No, it does. It does. It does. It does.
Go ahead.
The bar situation. Let me explain that part of it.
Go ahead.
You see, the problem what we get, there is a general breakdown in the general moral integrity and ethical fabric of the entire society. And when I talk about this, it is not only limited to politicians. It extends to every walk of life in the country, including professionals like lawyers, doctors, and other fields of service. Sierra Leone, na in the place where you go, you meet a lawyer, you pay him for represent you. He represents you, the opposite person come, he bribe him. Then that same lawyer where you don't pay, begin work against you, where you call and then they pick up. You're not going to start for go complain. Why? Because the politics of the day controls the legal system. And that is exactly why they want to make sure they control the bar situation, because they don't want the bar situation to take a neutral position, oppose the things that are going wrong in governance. So they try to manipulate the leadership of the bar association so they can manipulate what the leadership of the bar association will stand for or against in relation to what government does. The same applies to the medical field. So every life in the country is micromanaged and influenced by the politics of. So this winner take all. And a part of the problem, we don't destroy the fabric of leadership and governance. So bad, don't have anybody that you can outrightly trust. First, they give the benefit of the doubt. And they look at, say, they'll get, but 9 out of every 10 people who they deal with, whether in a business, on a professional field, for lie to you, now simple things like a common thing. It's like, for say, 3 o'clock where you not even go for show up in the office. No, that's like the order of the day. So we now, because of the environment we don't grow, when 3 o'clock, show up, you not even can at your office, then you not make you sexy, call me for a lot, me so I don't waste for far distance camp. It's painful. We don't do that. Normal. You go tell somebody, oh, boy, I go do that one day. That one day, no worry, I go do them. To you go don't talk to say, words have meaning. Like, that's why I relate to people. Words have meaning. When I say, I put my integrity on the line. But to them, it's nothing. This happens right across the board. From drivers to cooks to messengers, to your clerk in your office, to the lawyer you deal with, to the doctor you have to deal with. You can have very few exceptions. Politician is almost zero. I will tell you the truth. That's how bad the situation is in the country. Because people like us deal with it every day. And every day I my brain, what is wrong with this society? Why is it that people cannot say what they mean and mean what they say? Except to do violence. And they kill you today. That one day will take them to the bank, then go do out. Violence, evil things. That's why they bank their words on. But making promises, no. They run your business, no. You will trust them 99 times of the day. That one day, if they got you, bam, destroy your business. Speaking from experience. The entire fabric of society is what needs to be built from one side. And this needs to start from the young ones. The old ones, we cannot change them. We can just manage to run the system until we nurture the young ones to take over.
Now, okay, if I used to share that optimism there, that some of us are on our way out. And I will put you, I don't know how old you are, but I will put you in that category, in a different category.
I'm in my late 50s, almost going to 60.
Okay. So under normal circumstance, you should be considered as a young one in respect to a leadership position because you're young enough to head a country for 20 or more years. Now, my thing is, when we talk about now the young ones, I used to think about that because I think a lot of us don't outlive with usefulness. But what kind of surprised me and disappoints me is the fact that even as we speak, we have young people like Ben Kelfala, who may be even younger than you. Okay?
Far younger than me. So very, very younger.
Well, now, would you trust Ben Kelfala with the presidency of a country, knowing his current history and his activities of late? Because so when we talk, so even that we get for begin for guard now against the young ones, because we get a lot of corrupt young ones there now who haven't been fortunate enough for be taught ethics, integrity, responsibility. So the young ones have then take over from the current, they will, like when you say garbage in, garbage out. That's what will happen. So I'm not as optimistic as you are with respect to the young ones. I think maybe the old ones can come up with transformational ideas. The way Sierra Leone is, maybe Sierra Leone is unique, that the future may not be in the hands of the young ones, because I don't see any evidence of it at present. The future might even lie in the hands of the not so very young ones, like you. So that said, you mentioned earlier that we have spent, I think in the past so many years, over $1 billion, billion US dollars in trying to correct.
Just 15 years. And I'm not talking about 20, just 15 years. Within the past 15 years, our governments have received close to $1 billion just energy, specifically for energy. Yet we don't have supply us energy. Up till now, we rely on a ship in the sea.
So why is that? Can you really? Why so much money spent on energy and still we're at 0.0? You can elaborate on that for we?
Well, you see, much of the money comes from World Bank and IMF. The rest comes from development partners. Now, those companies from World Bank, IMF, and some of these Western countries, they have one principal. The principal objective, especially in this competitive world when you have China and Russia trying to gain favor in Africa, the Western world, the principal objective, which they've had all these years, is to how best can we hold these nations indebted to us? How can we hold them indebted to us? To such an extent that if they want to pull out away from us, we'll always have to stretch our hands and say pay back, and the economy will be destroyed. So they look for governments that will apply for loans for superficial investment that is not actually structural to move the nation forward, and they know that those monies are being squandered. But since that's not their objective is to hold us indebted to them. So they don't have a problem dishing out the monies. 50 million here, 60 million here, 10 million here. They put it in bits. But when you add them over the year, for the 1 year, they will give 50 million, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, 50 million. In 1 year, by the time you go, it's 100 million, 200 million already. 1 year is gone. So within that period, much of those monies that have been given to our government, both APC and SLPP government, including current government, have gone towards superficial investment in the energy sector pass given to the Turkish company that has a car ship on the sea, like a generator. What is NGC going to do differently? Let me delve into that aspect.
Okay, may I interrupt you,
There are
Mr.
several sources.
Please, let me just interrupt you. Hold your thought. Don't lose it. We don't want to accumulate too many callers. We have some people who are calling, and the problem is if you have like 5 or 6 people, then they have to wait for a long time. I hope you don't mind us taking 1 or 2 calls. Yeah.
Please go ahead, right ahead.
Okay. Hello, caller. Who's are you to call from? And waiting now you statement or question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Suma, good evening.
Now what they call? It sounds like Boy Jallo.
Yeah,
I
that's
see
it.
You want to solve. I see you want to solve a problem using the method that caused the problem. Since 2009, we were in a group, the Sierra Leone Watch, and I've been telling you the problem of Sierra Leone. But you people think you know better. Sierra Leone does not have a political problem, nor a development problem. Sierra Leone has the problem of belief systems, attitudes, and perceptions. And it is worse with the intellectual class. The more the Sierra Leonean gets educated, the more he thinks he knows. He doesn't listen to good advice. And then he wants to do things and do them wrongly. We don't even need to be talking about minerals in Sierra Leone. We have everything to provide electricity. Go and ask your party member, Andrew Kiley. His company did 2 surveys that pinpointed the potentials for electricity in Sierra Leone. All we need is use local methods by self-help, protect your environment, and tap into those resources. It will not even cost us $1 billion. This thing about young people wanting to do things, you people have been destroyed because you grew up in an environment where the belief system does not allow you to think non-linear. Correct that first, then Sierra Leone will begin to develop. Leadership is not a magical thing. It is a reflection of the sociology of a society. I've been telling you this using different words since 2009. But they wait for Teluna Oshia. I'll therefore come back. I'll get other questions. I'll go end on this for now.
Okay, before I go to the next caller, just
but
by way
me not offer any solution yet. We just be to talk about the problems.
Exactly.
But you say the solution we offer is similar to all the other ones. So I don't understand. I don't know who side you listen that,
okay.
But I not offer no solution yet.
Mr. Suma, hold off on your solution. Just hold off. Okay.
Yes.
Just hold off. Now make I say not lose your thought. Just make remember that. I got one for go to another caller, but very quickly, of course, we all know Mr. Jallo Jamboria for saying
let the caller announce their name, please. I just happen for another voice they make a
lot of them will not ask them the name. Well, I personally have deviated from that because the announcement of the name is immaterial in that they could give you a fake name. And so add anything on the plate. Because you call
it's still important. Let the owners be on and for life.
Yeah, well, no, that's no problem. I can ask them what's the name and leave it up to them for response to that. Okay. But very quickly, since Mr. Jamboria is saying we'll call back, which I hope he will do, I just want for way of thinking, not for an immediate response. I think the way they frame in the in statement, I could take a slight disagreement with them, only in the sense that I say we do not have a political problem. We do have a political problem among many other problems.
Very big political problem.
We do have the problems we say we get them. I just want to let you think about that. I want to let another point. Did I take another call? Among which he point out, those problems exist, but we do have fundamentally a political and a social problem that need to be corrected. Hello, caller. Please, what's your name for the convenience of the guest?
Sir.
And where are you calling from?
Hello, Mr. Shyllon and Mr. Jesmed.
Yes, sir.
I call from the United Kingdom.
Okay.
And my name is Mohammed Soare.
Okay, Mr. Soare. Thanks for calling.
Right. As much as I don't agree with Mr. Jesmed, they talk, and waiting will be the deliberate on recently. For my own contribution, I just feel say salon na the mindset, na the main issue. Because if we can take back to when Shaka Stephen been in a government after the Magai rule, that 22 years of rule and the 6 years of Momo in term, now there we been don't get the corruption and accountability we be done the lacking. And you know, because that period of time they be so long that if Shaka Stephen be put in place some punitive and strong rules and laws that are in place, I mean, that trajectory for law for don't get place like Bunguna, they run effectively, and don't they above Senegal and Ghana, like what Mr. Jesmed did talk. If we don't they in full effectiveness, we're not for don't they still now they discuss about electricity safe. But because the corruption be not endemic, like where Shaka Stephen be say, Usa you tie goats na they eat. And practically, they all be don't take on themselves, say, this is not a way of life. So when they put somebody as head of electricity, or head of the mines, or head of social department, I mean, that person, the incumbent upon them from in family, for let them say, this, you don't build 4 or 5 house them, you don't do well, oh. And now we say, now we give the praise. You don't send him picking all abroad, but not true, which means you do, and not true corruption. Then we now take the other aspect again. You see, all the successive governments after Shaka Stephen and Momoda era, with Tijan Kaba, Aneskoma, and present Julius Saidu, Julius Madabio, and the NPRC era, the mistake when they self-made, when they come, then just carry on with the same pattern where we don't do prior to what we don't go through during Shaka Stephen in term. Then self not sit down and work out plans. Say, do I have any more time?
Yeah, we'll give you 20 seconds.
All right, okay.
Or you can call back.
Let's just conclude them. Okay, and the final one now, this over dependence on international fund from World Bank and IMF. Then they will continue for plague with, because Sierra Leone gets so much minerals, then we don't be able to transform and get successful investors then we can do business with the country for make the country go before. So I will stop there for now.
Thank you so much,
carry on to now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soare. We appreciate you calling. If may The next caller just hold off a few 1 minute longer or so. Let we ask Mr. Suma. Let resume in point where they make. Then we'll go back to accepting calls. Because without assurance, say we will take 1 or 2. Or we didn't say 2 or 3. So we'll take 1 or 2. Let we go back to us. So Mr. Suma, back to you.
Now, the key to we own solution, as I've been mentioned earlier, is guarded by 3 major factors. Okay. Factor number 1, how affordable is this energy that we're going to provide for the people? How is it going to be affordable? Factor number 2, how is it going to be accessible? Factor number 3, how is it going to be sustainable? We don't look at all the different options. We don't look at the alternative options then. Right now, fossil fuel type of energy now they generate in the country. You get generators, you get petrol, you get diesel, you get where they dirty the climate. Then you get biomass, you get thermal, you get wind energy, you get solar energy. We realize the solar energy technology don't so improve around the world, and we get natural amount, a very good amount of solar energy, sunlight, for invest in the solar energy technology. So as a government, between 2028 to 2029, within 1 year period, with a pledge for invest a minimum of $250 million in partnership with any company around the world. We get the technology, they get the experience, the know-how, the master sabi people for bringing them come into Sierra Leone, open a solar energy company in Sierra Leone, in which the government, the NGC government, is pledging to invest a minimum of $250 million for 40 to 49% shares of the company. So we get part ownership of the company. In addition to other incentives that we would give to the solar company, 1, tax concessions and other different concessions because the essence now for that we get access to the technology, we're able to provide electricity, energy for as many people in the country as possible, and also make the company able to make profit so that they're able for continuous for reason for investing, continue for investing in Sierra Leone. Now, when that is done, collectively, the government and the company will begin now to identify and evaluate the energy need of households across the country, from Freetown to Falaba, Kailaun to Cambia, Pujaun to Putloko, Kono to Moyamba, all across Tonkolili, all in district then every household we get the right structure, we qualify for get a solar panel. We evaluate your energy needs, we evaluate the income level of the person, determine how many solar panels you need, determine how many battery backup you need. The engineers then can install the solar panel, then give you a flat fee where you pay for month. Based on your income level, some go pay them within 2 years, some go pay them within 3 years, some go spread them for 5 years, some even go need for spread them for 10 years, so that you go able for pay an amount where you be able to afford. When a flat amount where they pay every month for pay off the investment in the solar technology we don't install now your house. The same benefit will be extended to essential businesses, hospitals, clinics, essential businesses. We're very, very essential for run the economy. We also extend it in the hotels, guest houses, then side and day. We're able for make, then get access to energy, because the worst thing will happen to a business person. Now for that, you go for to spend so much on your revenue on providing energy using generator, How you go for make profit of that? Which investor will come for can invest in that country there? So what thing they happen? When you don't get enough solar energy penetration across the country, now all the major towns, all the villages, as long as the house suitable enough for whole solar panel and they're able to pay for them, spread them to a long period of time, it will reduce the demand of solar on the existing grid. And they do. Because solar energy they get a generation point where they generate the energy. They get the transmission where they use transmission lines when an expensive venture where they run miles and miles, tens and tens of miles, hundreds of miles from one district to another, from one point to another. Very powerful energy to transfer. Then you got the substation. They go land at the substation. They distribute at the homes them at a level where the homes them will accept the energy. Each level of that thing they now capital investments were very high. So what we will do after we don't get enough homes, forget enough solar panels spread out so that we'll get 24 hours light. When I heavy capital investment, the next phase extend into smaller businesses. The next phase, like then welders, then carpenters, then stop them there, so that they want the way the whole small restaurant for them will get and run them fridge, then start them and meet them where they do fish, they will then go get them small fridge and freezer them for keep them fish and then can't stop them there. They want the way they dry, they want the way they cook, they want the way they then the next phase will they give custom duty free for every product when a solar generated product. If you bring a cooker when a solar they use duty free. If you bring machine when a solar they use, bring duty free. If you bring anything when a household utensil, well, any household thing the way they use, or anything way they use in a business, when a solar they generate them, duty free for the first 5 years. Then they go considerably reduce the demand on the grid. Then we look at the West African power pool, where they come out from Ivory Coast, and the heavy energy they come out from Ivory Coast. Then we look at where hydro, na Bumbuna, where usually then the seasonal, where rain season done, the power level is reduced. So they connect them businesses then they now with the other high powered generation where they come out from the West African power pool and connect her now to the rest of the other side and now, so that if somebody can today, like you, Mr. Shyllon, we say I want to go open factory na Salone where they make granite oil out of granite, but the same way want open them na Kambia and this street in Sasamun chiefdom, you not get light. We on government they guarantee you electricity because we they make them as a duty of a government for make sure say anyone who want to open factory any side of the country, we they support them for letting go forget electricity as part of our own pledge. Because this time, since the demand don't reduce on the grid line, the power generation where they come out from the power houses like the hydro and the other side then go able to supply the energy. The next phase, now for look at other potential hydro areas, just like the one where we get Benkelenke, I think we then get a Potloko, similar opportunities and then they all over the country where they get a high level of water flow across different sides and different districts, where you go able to put a small hydro dam, we go supply them town then they. And then different phases then they will look at. Then in addition to that one day, we will look at the wastages across the line. Right now, this government they complain say people in the thief electricity. Ebo, if the ministries them, they know they pay electricity. The ministers and the permanent secretaries, sometimes people who look like ETSA, if they know they pay electricity, then obviously if they give reason to people them, the ordinary man let themselves thief the electricity. So we on government, they instill discipline and the system of governance. Every government agency, every government ministry, every government department, from State House Kandong, will make sure say them pay the electricity bill because I separate agency that one day from the operations of that particular department within the working amount, so that the agency where they provide energy will get enough revenue for their own service. Then, if you were in a corner, see say we don't lock up permanent secretary because it's thief electricity, you were in a corner go get mind one. You know get mind one. because we don't set example from the top. That could only happen in an NGC government where discipline will be still in a system of governance. Without discipline in government, you know, we get a disciplined society.
All right.
That's the
Thank you,
NGC
sir.
solution to the energy problem in Sierra Leone.
Thank you for that. I'll get some questions, but let me see if let me take at least one more call. Then I will, one or two more calls. Then I will, I know
Will you cut them up short because I get another meeting where I don't late for 30 minutes already.
okay, may we know how much time you get for Giwi?
Not more than 10, maybe 5.
Can you make it 15? Because
Hey,
10
talk.
is much too short. We'll get several callers then, but I just want for
Okay, why didn't they make the call? I just send message for tell and say I don't run late.
please,
Go ahead,
please.
let them go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Because this is important.
Yes.
The comments that what
Yeah,
they
it
get
is.
now, the comments what they get now, people are wondering, people are even getting excited that then they get some responsible view, and then some comments they come and say, wish you people had done that instead of rolling over and playing dead as una do with una leader, Mr. Yomkela. That if by now, if you people were,
I understand the reservation.
If you had stood your grounds, people will be flocking to you people from APC and SLPP for building the alternative government. So people are sending in questions as you're talking because people want to hear some encouraging news. So, hello, caller. What's your name? Side to call from?
Hello, this is Umaru the call.
Mr. Umaru, thank you very much for calling. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, Mr. Jesmed has country problem. I explain like what are the right secondary school essay.
How so?
One thing again, who would tell them?
How so?
Yeah. You know, go can a media. You make vague explanations. Time wait for asking question. You tell people and say left 5 minutes for go. Now this when they talk about Sierra Leone politicians there. You know they give opportunity to the people for ask questions. You don't explain. You don't use all the time. You don't explain. Time where people for engage you. You tell and say you get 10 minutes. Yeah, Mr. Jesmed. So long as you don't explain. Wait for Willow ask question. Let you answer. We left this type of politics on the practice in that country. They can't explain policies them. Confuse people them. Time for ask question. Take excuse. And this it don't happen that past election. I feel said now. Way forward at that. Get for the answer with questions. You know. So now let's come to the questions. One of the questions, how credible all what you don't talk there? Because for all what you explain, you know, show we how they generate that money for most of their policies them. You just explain to we. Try tell we how you do. And because we don't see a president of that country where somebody can make vague explanation, they let it, they will pay for them. Now we knows. If I want to go to my country now, only ticket enough, I forget, are close to 1,500 only tickets. In order to what you go spend a saloon. This is the deprived Sierra Leoneans for go. So now one of the reasons that this way they make do any say you want go, any no matter how that you meet the important, cancel them. You know, politician for we they answer with questions them. You learn for answer questions as politicians. No can we can explain to we they run go. Then how credible all what you they talk there? If we don't we see una owner come as an NGC, we rally then we dance for winner. Now again we trust. At the eve of election, we not say let enough form coalition are part of politics. But at the eve elections, when coalition, most of the time they come after elections, now go into coalition on selfish interests, abandon the interests of the people. How credible una did this time around for let people trust una and give una a vote? Then
thank you.
Again,
very good
I want to
question.
ask una again.
I can answer now.
Waiting at the hello?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
say I can answer now.
No, I think
no, you don't go answer now because I get 3 minutes. You allow me 3 minutes.
Get a follow-up question. Yeah, then, go ahead.
Okay. Then do you know that again that we don't get president say third force na Africa can progress if they stay on course. Of course, those 2 days ago, we don't see two of the small parties in South Africa, the EFF, and one other small political party where before say the former president in party. We see them where they make inroads into main politics. So waiting now they take away where Sierra Leoneans political party, especially the one where they come up, then small one day, waiting now they take where they get to all start. Waiting una go learn from that. Thank you very much. But anyway, please do your answer with caution, not run away. Do your big. Thank you.
Well, the reason is we've been get the interview scheduled for 3 to 4. Then I go to me other meeting where I've been on schedule. But we start late and we don't pass 4 o'clock. So obviously, not to mean at the fault, because of the way the system, the timing will be knowing him. For answer your question, now remember I mentioned say within the past 15 years, we don't get over the government of Sierra Leone don't get over close to $1 billion. That money then they come out at different sources, some of which are loans. We know they go for loan. Some of which are grant. We go accept grant. Grant na free money when they give. Loan na way they take debt for the next generation. You enjoy and now, then the next generation suffer. We NGC no go accept that. The next thing, alternative, when me personally don't examine the budget allocation of Sierra Leone for the past 5 to 10 years, we are losing an average of $100 million every year on fraud, waste, and abuse. I repeat, we are wasting at least up to $100 million on fraud, waste, and abuse. Every year, the NGC government will ensure that we curtail fraud, waste, and abuse. We will have a quota line for each budgetary allocation that goes to administrative expenses and other indirect expenses that does not have direct impact on the lives of the people. For instance, if you allocate $200 million or $150 million to the Ministry of Education, when they talk, say education bad, you not just say, after us, we don't spend $150 million. Now we are the first party of the government, we don't expend the much. That nobody in the parliament will scrutinize who side that $150 million they go. Is it to the directors, to conferences, to air tickets, to director this, the expert researcher that? When it comes to the actual money where they go to the teachers and the kids, sometimes not even reach 40% or 50% of that. NGC government will have a quota level in terms of the percentage of every budgetary allocation where they go outside the direct investment to the lives of the people. If you quota expenditure exceed that quota level, then reduce staff, get rid of non-essential staff, then reduce them to the quota level where the budgetary will not for exceed the budgetary level, and will hold you responsible, and the ministers them will be required to ensure that they give account for every budgetary allocation before they allocated another amount of money. So there is going to be a lot of savings on the area of waste and abuse, fraud, waste, and abuse of government resources. 10% where they go to project them. If they get project, they will not get nothing where they add value to the life of our people. But because now when they for siphon money out of the system, then they undertake and they allow budgetary allocation. NGC will stampede, will put an end, will stop, will do everything for save enough resources. If we give it need, for now we cut down on the number of staff in our embassy, We will do it for save money, for change the lives of our people. Imagine each embassy staff, they make an average of $4,000 to $7,000 every month. Imagine each staff, each embassy having an average of 10 to 15 staff. Not just left unto 10. That is $70,000 just for run one embassy alone. That not include the rent for the ambassador and other things and per diem where the government they spend. You multiply down there by 10 or 20 embassies. When them politicians here get one election, then use the embassies them for lunking all them political pundits. Where we don't support them, even if they're not sabi a bit from a bull's foot. All that money they waste. NGC will put an end to those wastages so that we invest in the lives of our people. The money is inside Sierra Leone to invest in the infrastructure of our energy people. You just need the leadership to be able to identify where the sources are coming from. The third way would broaden the tax base. In fact, it will surprise you to know the majority of our money that finances our annual budget comes from the taxes that we pay. But the tax base is so small, so the tax burden is on a very few businesses. So we will make sure we broaden the tax base by creating incentive for more businesses than be established. Support the private sector because the government should not be in the business of running business.
Exactly.
It is the government's responsibility to enable business to flourish. And that is exactly what the NGC party will do. Enable businesses to flourish. Give them reason to invest in Sierra Leone. Give them reason to employ Sierra Leoneans. Give them reason to expand their operations. The support they need, the NGC government will give it to them. When the tax base is broadened, the tax burden will be less, more revenue will come to the government. That is the type of leadership NGC will provide when we take over governance. Now, in terms of credibility, I can understand. Akidiman gets every reason for be angry with we, every reason for cast doubt with we. But that doubt they not cast on every NGC person, because some of us are equal victims to the deceit, just like the rest of the nation. Me personally got into supporting an alliance because I strongly believe, say, there is some level of sincerity for form a unity government. We're going to include APC, best talent from APC, best talent from NGC, best talent from SLPP and other areas for form a government to deliver for the people of Sierra Leone. That was what was promised. That was what motivated people like us. It has nothing to do with self-interest. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the absolute conviction that this was a genuine attempt to provide a transformational leadership. And secondly, this, whether person believe or not believe, I was scared. I was personally scared at the fact that the APC government not get control of the grassroots. They show you an example of how the grassroots can be dangerous in August 6. I begin to imagine, if I do not buy into this for us to form a transformational government, and APC has never condemned the anger, the violence that fuel their grassroots. Nobody in the leadership has ever done that. Just imagine for a second, if they are given power just within 48 hours, you know the number of people who don't die? Believe me, I don't want to be in that kind of environment. I was personally scared because of the threat of violence. So man can feel not for belief. That's your choice. But I'm telling you, my internal and personal feeling will be inside me. So I apologize to every NGC member and every other member will be non commit to we party in ideology and philosophy for move forward and feel disappointed by the way things turn out. I extend my personal and sincere apology and extend an apology on behalf of the NGC party as the chairman and leader of the party. But right now, our focus is development. Our focus is transforming our party, bringing it up, lifting us up, gaining back that credibility we don't be non lost. And believe in me, with the type of leadership NGC get now, we will build that credibility. Now, this is how you measure credibility of leadership in any institution and in any individual. In any institution, if you overlook the person where they lead them, you don't make mistake. Because the person where they lead them, they get a strong influence on what they happen underneath them. If that person their integrity is questionable, my mama can tell me, say, if you tell me, say, you know somebody, ask how you know him. Now, 3 categories you tell me. Category number 1, test the person's fiduciary responsibility. When I don't ever involve per money business, he able to execute them honestly and sincerely, you not bring any yuki inside. If you don't see examples of that one day with the person, then you know, say yes, you know the person. The second one, leadership in terms of power. You don't ever give that person the leadership. You don't ever give them leadership na a social club, leadership na an association, leadership na any side. You don't ever demonstrate leadership where you're able for create transformational result and give an impact. If your answer is yes, then you know the person. If your answer is no, I don't care how that person they sabi talk. I don't care how that person they makes sense. Say in a Gina Musa I get all the brains. If you not test on the inside and then you don't know the person. The third one is the moral standard of the person. Well, with respect to moral standard, that one day everybody can be victims. I can give you an example. Bill Clinton. That's a typical example. If you then give me Bill Clinton for can run salon, because of the way where I don't see that and lead, he go able to deliver results, I go give him. But will I trust him with my daughter? No. But because of the fact that say he got a moral question, when I don't see an example how they deliver results, now a big nation in America, will I doubt him to rule Sierra Leone? No, I will not. I will give him the power because I've seen him delivered in some situation. George Bush, now a typical example. I can left me wife to I say George Bush, do I watch him for me, I come. I know say nothing no go happen. Sometimes me got me daughter self. But I go trust her with me for a couple run am. No, because I don't see how they mess up leadership where it don't run a country. So those are examples we have to look at. So when you're looking at the leadership of any political party, examine the life of the leader. Start from there. If you find anything questionable in the leadership of the leader, then believe him, you not follow that political party. And with respect to the NGC party, I will raise my hands up. My integrity, I don't compromise it for anybody. Because I'm leading an institution, everything I do will reflect on them. So this institution, this NGC that I lead now, our integrity, we will put it on the map to make sure we lift this party and lift the nation for the future generation.
Thank you so much.
I hope I don't answer the man question.
Well, I hope so. And of course, unfortunately, I'm sure you're beginning to get the feeling that people want to hear more from you. Maybe a 1 hour
yes.
or 30
I not go mind if we schedule a continuation of this interview for another day. I can make room. I can do all my best to kind of make room for you. If we agree on have a continuation, so that we'll get enough time for notify your listeners.
And
because these are crucial discussions. We're really crucial for the nation.
And people need leadership, and they want to hear somebody like you with the head political party, because there are a lot of questions to be asked. Now, of course, you mentioned.
Yes, indeed.
I know you have to go, but I hope when we talk about moral standard, it may or may not, or it could or could not be used interchangeably with the word integrity, because that's what's also is a major factor or characteristic that is lacking with government officials. Them integrity.
Yeah, integrity. Integrity encompass all the one day.
Okay.
The word integrity encompass all the one day. If any of them three and they're questionable, your integrity is questionable.
Okay. Because it will be good for you for calm, because there are a lot of things about government we'll get for point out for discuss. And I think the people are, like I said, the people are yearning for leadership, for an alternative to then two political parties, because we've been seeing questions coming on the screen about the tripartites. you know, about
Yes.
the people want to talk about it. In fact, somebody said, house alone, Jasmine, Mr. Suma, Jasmine
Jesmed
Suma,
Suma. Yeah.
Ismail, yeah, in party, they just joined SLPP. Now they don't break up. The person end up with us alone. So something like that. You don't blame them for making all that comment, but now you will get for persuade them and take the house alone into context and why it is justified and why that not to the kind of leadership you intend to provide for the country or for the because
Exactly.
every
That is
party,
true. And
yeah.
Nara make a comment that last person will ask question. He has every reason to be angry. He has every reason to doubt. He has every reason to feel disappointed because we messed up. But we, me particular, and the rest of many NGCians are equal victims just like the rest of the nation in terms of how this thing turned out. So in terms of the tripartite committee, they deliberately excluded the rest of the other political parties. If the scope and the mandate of the tripartite committee was only limited to resolving problems between APC and SLPP, that's not our business. We're not going to be required to, we're not going to be forced about being part of the committee. But they extended their mandate to review all our electoral systems and electoral laws and submit recommendations that automatically invite us as stakeholders that have been playing part and parcel of the geopolitics of Sierra Leone. But they excluded us. The NGC party wrote a letter to the chairman of the Peace Commission, Reverend Johnson, requesting that other political parties must be represented. They ignored our call. Now they have an impasse. APC and SLPP, they do not seem to agree on the very scope of the committee itself, scope of work of the committee itself. APC is making claims that the committee includes reviewing the 2024 election results and
23.
all past 2023 election results and all past election results to determine actually who won and not won. The truth of the matter, there is absolute need to examine the process, how the election was conducted, how the results were tallied, how the results were announced, and so many other aspects of the elections. To get information, get an informed position to be able to recommend changes. Because the fact remains, both APC and SLPP, they've all rigged elections over the years. In fact, most of their elections they won have been won on rigged process. That is a common known fact. But also, there is also a known fact. Despite the differences between those two parties, they both agree on one thing, and that is to exclude other political parties from the political space, to suffocate other political parties from the political space. So the next letter that we are sending tomorrow, actually, to Reverend Johnson is to remind them, let them know that whatever they are doing now will be recorded in history. That by allowing APC and SLPP just by themselves to make changes to our electoral system and electoral laws without an input from the stakeholders enables APC and SLPP to pursue their objective to eliminate other political parties. And history will remember him for that. And history will remember the so-called Peace Commission for their failures to do due diligence in allowing other stakeholders like the NGC party and other political parties to have a say in deciding what constitutes change for us to have a better democratic system in our country. Some of the examples that I would want to project are as follows. One, we either get rid of the PR system, or we reduce the threshold from 10 to 5%, so that any political party that holds 5% votes will have to have an opportunity to have a seat in the House of Parliament in any district. Two, to eliminate runoff. Eliminate it. We just have one round. So once you run the round, if you cannot make 50%, you go into a coalition with other political parties. Any of the parties that form the first 50 plus 1% will form a government. So what will happen? We will have the scenario that we experience now in South Africa. That is what is happening in South Africa. The experience in South Africa will never happen in Sierra Leone. So the example the young man gave, he has to understand the concept that lays the foundation of what is happening in South Africa. The concept of the foundation that is happening in South Africa, you have to have a 50% plus to be able to form a government. And ANC has failed to achieve that 50% plus that they had command over, so they are now forced to form an alliance with the other political parties. In Sierra Leone, that is not the case. If you cannot make your 50% plus, they said run the election again. So you have no incentive to call a coalition. In fact, the only incentive you have is to rig and dip and deceive the other political parties, just like they did to us. But whereas if you have the system like they have in South Africa, if we have into agreement that we are going to form a coalition government, we have all the terms agreed. You fail to fulfill that agreement, we will collapse your government by withdrawing from the alliance. Once we withdraw from the alliance, you no longer have 50 plus 1. Then your government constitutionally ceases to exist. Then the other party will now take up the chances of cutting you to come and form an alliance. That's the difference. That is not going to happen to Sierra Leone until there is a structural change.
Precisely.
The way the laws of the country are established. Well, we need to forget more of this discussion.
All right.
Let's schedule another interview, bro. For now,
I know you have
I think I need to go.
I know you have to run. We'll greatly appreciate it. We will schedule another
follow-up.
This follow-up or discussion with you, because, like I say, the people are yearning for it. And I think nothing is going to be achieved, because almost everything you've said about the tripartite, the APC and SLPP domination of the political airspace, those things have to be addressed, because I don't think it's healthy for the country. And so
it's not.
I want to thank you very, very, very much for coming. And please,
thank you, sir.
Take care. We hope to see you again, and we'll greatly appreciate your presence.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no question. We're happy to have you.
Yes,
we will continue for a few more minutes. We will continue the show for a few more minutes to see if there were other callers. Let's see what they have in mind. We'll put that on the record.
Yes.
So next time you come, we'll discuss that with you.
Okay, well, do me a favor. I will exit now and find out whether our meeting is still going on. And if it's not going on, then I'll come back.
You're welcome. We would love to see you.
Yes.
Right back. Okay.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
Mr. Suma, thanks a lot. All right. Hello, caller. Please, I hope you know the discussion. We are just get with Mr. Suma. He has to run. We have to honor in desire for left, because if we try to get somebody who will be a person of his word, whatever the nature of where he get for go, I think he don't gain word. So let's get that break day. But please go ahead and call. What's your name? Hello, caller. What's your name? And what's your suggestion or question?
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you very, very much, sir, for bringing Mr. Suma. This was very, very instructive and very, very awesome. and I understand Mr. Suma have prior commitment, but I just want to tell and say that he don't win me as a fan. What in this man proposed, for example, with the energy thing, what he proposed, what a brilliant idea. You know, I have some questions about it, like with the solar system, what we will do with the trash, the environmental aspect of that, you know. But here's a man at least bringing proposals, constructive and real proposals to the table, and that was very, very impressive. And I appreciate also why you talk about the tripartite commission, because me, I truly believe this commission is undemocratic, unrepresentative, and all the same, because again we have the uniparty system negotiating between each other about power, excluding the rest of Sierra Leone, excluding the voice of Sierra Leone. And what Mr. Suma say is exactly right. It's the structure. The structure is the problem. From day one, we see that this is not the problem. From day one, now these two uniparty system bring all this. The system itself is created for this two-party system, this elite party thinking system that affecting progress in the country. And Mr. Suma, I appreciate you, and I wish you go come back so we go engage you more, because you have great ideas, and some of us would like to follow you. This is very, very good. Thank you, Mr. Shelby, for having this conversation. It's good to hear a different side. I thank you very much, sir.
Okay, and please, sir, you, the caller, make note. Do not forget your trend of thought. Make a note, because Mr. Suma we're definitely going to invite him back within the next couple of weeks. We will try to get an agreed date. So make you pick up where you say you left off with respect to which you want to ask him. So not forget. So greatly encourage you and anybody who will call after you for make sure, say, you remember, or you can go back and watch this video, because these shows are recorded. So you can watch them in case you don't make any recording by yourself. You can go back, remember the date, you can watch them and then get some questions from them. We'll announce when they come back. Thank you so much, caller. Let me go to another caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? And who side you call
just
from?
now. Mr. Shyllon.
Mr. Jamboria. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I stand by my point that the sociology is what is wrong. Politics is a product of the sociology. Any society, the way the belief system there, now so that they practice politics. That's why we have different shades of democracy in different countries. Because your democracy cannot be over and above your culture and beliefs. Take example of China. China is a communist state, but the people are living capitalist lives because they believe in capitalism. Teachers in China ride Lamborghini. You will not believe that. Go and do research on YouTube. So my point is, until Sierra Leone changes the belief systems of impunity and autocracy, nothing will change in that country. And it's not a problem of one man. It's a problem of every Sierra Leonean. Each of us have to look into ourselves and change our belief systems. We are all autocrats. We like impunity. That's why we like to talk about law and policy. We don't talk about how to get people to participate in governance. Your policy cannot do anything if the people are not ready to participate. You have to find a way to convince people to be part and parcel of, to believe in. If Sierra Leoneans believe in the governance system, We don't need IMF or World Bank. We can be generating over $1 billion per annum from each of us. It's the beliefs that is our problem. I've been saying this since 2007, but Sierra Leoneans know better. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, just very briefly, Mr. Jamboria, of course, nobody will even doubt the degree of our substance when you suggestions them entail. And I agree with you to a large degree that what you say so will be part of the problem. But the social fabric is such that it will take a whole much longer. We need the immediate remedy, in my view, would seem like we need, because we get tripartite sitting here, where every one of us.
With the present electronic world, we can solve that problem within 1 year, if we are ready.
Okay.
What if we ask to do so? If Sierra Leoneans then listen to them, we don't begin to solve the problem. What in most other channels they do, if we listen to them, we don't begin to solve the problem. But the point is, we the people are polarized, especially the diaspora. Diaspora, they talk about voting rights. But look at the diaspora. It's so divided. Either the SLPP, either the APC. I don't believe any country there in the diaspora will get a very strong Sierra Leone union. If we have a strong Sierra Leone union, we can make a lot of changes to Sierra Leone. But we are so polarized. We believe it's not wrong. Until we change that, nothing changes in Sierra Leone. Mark my words. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, but as a follow-up to that, now for be able to make a change, we'll get a capable leadership determined to make a change. This is the problem. It's like
Mr. Shyllon.
Yeah.
Leadership is not our problem.
But we need
have had leaders.
It not be a problem.
The greatest number of leaders.
I'm talking about the right leadership, the leadership of the vision. It's a solution solving leadership. I'm not talking about leadership.
Now the way what they think, now problem. A leader does not come from heaven to earth. A leader is a manifest of the social infrastructure. Until we change that, we not get a good leader.
All right.
Sierra Leone can get 12 and more leaders. All the other countries around me, they not get up to 10 leaders since 1961. Then they make progress. And because of the way the society they think.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I just want to see now that we know the cause, how do we remedy the situation? How do we solve it? Because we need some kind of
the intervention, yeah.
Okay, for people like you,
they go far. They go far.
You see, so now we know union diagnosis. We get from union standpoint, we get a problem, and you diagnose the problem. But we need to be able to foresee what the solution, because we need to solve, because we know say we have a position of total decadence. We know that, and the country is incapable of changing itself. Now we the people make the country, so we need brains like you. We need people like you. We need people like Mr. Suma, and we therefore agree to disagree. That we get diversity of ideas, because in my profession, I will get an adage or a phrase: reasonable men can differ. You can be reasonable, I can be reasonable, and we still may see things from opposite ends. We have to lay the ground rules. All that will happen, So until we get that, and because the country needs solution, and we need the best of, and then talking about the diaspora.
We will give the solution. That's what we are doing. and then
Okay.
talk show ya.
Mr. Jesmed,
Then talk show ya, not they go for nothing, no.
yeah, Mr. Suma talk about the diaspora. You talk about the diaspora. Mr. Suma say governments tend to make the diaspora the enemy, which is the common practice it appears to be.
But now the
Even though
diaspora are their own
is the-
enemy, Mr. Shyllon.
Yeah.
Mr. Shyllon, the
Yes, sir.
diaspora is its own enemy.
Oh, of course, I agree again with you.
As
We
for
are
make
our own
we
enemy.
contribute money for make we get away, forget diaspora voting rights. They will not put money. Go
You
and
take the
ask
word right
them
out of my
to
mouth.
put money
You
for
take the word-
SLPP or APC. They will do it because they want recognition. In case government ready, then go give the office. Now we have our own problem. Not for the government not alone. If we be united, we able get them for listen to it. We'll come back to the belief systems.
Okay, Mr. Jabore, just hold tight for me. Let me take one or two more call because I
Okay,
would
sir.
love.
Okay,
Don't
sir.
go away because I would love to have further discussion with you. Hello,
All
caller.
right.
What's your name? Who's you to call from?
Well, I go off. Wait, ready?
No, go,
Just
no,
signal me, I go come back.
no. Well, but if you still there in the mood, I think the calls were dropped, so you can go ahead. I mean, that would be
The
fine.
unfortunate me voice or what it is.
Oh no, you're still very effective. You're still effective. So go ahead, sir. State your position.
As I they say, Mr. Shyllon, man is a thinking animal. Everything about we, they reflect the way they think. We politics, we economics, and everything. The Sierra Leonean problem, not so APC, SLPP. Now we believe systems. And until we change the one day, we can take off APC and SLPP from the political environment. We bring other parties. Now the same old thing, they continue. We get
Yeah,
the task, but look at research on why we they think the way they think. When we find out the answer, now we try for modify a lot of things now with society, because no society not they develop whose I trust not they don't prove that beyond reasonable doubt that most of the developed societies now whose I trust they. Look South Korea. South Korea they call African countries to conference now. In 1961, South Korea was a broken country. South Korea not get minerals, but there is trust in the society. Today they are an economic power. Not all we minerals they get from Mekui. Now the way they think get from Mekui. We can get all the minerals, but if we not they think straight, we will not benefit from them. That issue about diamonds, SLST, now the bears been getting.
Yeah.
But we're not able to benefit from diamonds. The same De Beers, now then they Botswana they benefit from the diamonds. In this life, we get for face one thing. Then say how you sell yourself, now so the world go buy you. I prayed you better, now so they lay down it. Until we change our belief systems, nothing not the change in us alone.
Okay,
Unless
but
how they talk high sounding assumptions.
well,
Ethiopia.
I think the high soundedness of it is not a bad aspiration. I think we have to.
Yeah, it's good to think big. But when
yeah.
they think big, you get for match them with a good plan. We're sustainable. I agree with Jesmed. Sustainability, affordability,
Accessibility.
and maybe scalability. Get for be part of what you get for do. But for make Saloebo achieve that, now move away from the egoistic. Now begin talk about a national roadmap we'll go use for the next 25 to 30 years. We pass a law say every government where they come, for continue with that roadmap.
Well,
Because as
okay.
you rightly say, it takes 15 years minimum for begins a development. And we get a 2-term system. That means we're not going to ever develop. If everybody they count to manifesto. That much I agree with. But all that they come into with sociology. What they look at with political issues, let's not forget the human factor. Because without the people, there is no Sierra Leone. Just like when you read that book, is it not Solomon's? That might be then at that island. When I want been they been get a case of gold. The gold not be useful to them. This is just Sierra Leone. If we don't have the correct set of people, nothing will work. Because the leadership alone not going to do the work. Now the participation of the people matter. Then, for make the economy be sustainable, we get a strategic way for build consumption and maintain them. Because where there is no consumption, there is no demand and supply. If you take container go free tonight, they take 1 year for seller. Because the people not get the ability for consume. So what they talk now, look at the social side, the humanistic side. Not only politics. If not the politics that be a solution, like we country they far ahead. We don't get over 12 leaders. Ivory Coast, there are 7 leaders they don't get. Then the miles side of me. Guinea, neighbor we. There are 7 leaders. 1984, Guinea have been village. Today then the miles side of me. Senegal, from independence to now 6 leaders. Then the miles side of me. God is not unfair with us. Let us accept that we are thinking badly in Sierra Leone and change it. Then things will get better.
Yeah, but
sorry, I guess not good.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time for calling and add to the discourse, because it's always a pleasure to have you around to just find.
Sir, we'll talk later.
Okay, sir. Take care of yourself.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. All right. We are approaching the end of the show anyway. And so I just get a few comments that I just want to add to which there are lots and lots of things Mr. Suma talk about today we will get for deal with. Let me just, before I comment on that, let me just take a call. Hello, caller. Which are your name and which side you call from? Now, okay, the control. All right, let me just continue my third process. So there are a lot of things Mr. Suma touched on today. We just give you an indication of how much catching up we have to do to be able for even start talking about good leadership. Some of the things they may touch on, of course, some of the questions I have maybe for one for ask them. There's some more detailed stuff like, will the NGC government be committed to reclassifying disbursement of per diem? Will the NC government, and one suggestion I have in mind, that the president should not be paid that per diem at all because it's unnecessary. He not get any pocket expense of his own. He live in a free housing. He get free transportation. He get free food and feeding. He get free security. He get free a lot of stuff. So in a country that so desperately needs to restructure its economic well-being, I don't think it needs to be paying a president and in group per diem. And people need to understand which in a per diem, because the average man at the street, you don't know, say, president to collect thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every time he's out of USA is supposed for every time he's out of Freetown. Let's put it that way. So the ordinary man needs to know that part of the job of the opposition now for educate the ordinary man. So the ordinary man will know what is wrong that the government in power is doing and what for look forward to if another government can have power. And if you know what you for look forward to, not to what you expect, but what in the government they promise you and you know say they within their ability for do for you. So when they not do them, you for be able for make a decision right there and then and say, well, this government not for me. And you for be able for make an assessment when a government is lying to you, when an opposition party is lying to you, because the opposition can say anything for kind of power. Then when they kind of power, then probably performance in office will be worse. One of the qualities then anybody for look for in a prospective government or the promises them, and then the action for demonstrate that. Now a government willing to get the extra length of protecting lives and liberty and property. Lives, liberty, and property. Okay? For protect your right, for speak freely without fear that a government can take you overnight and then you disappear. That liberty day, we want a government who will provide that for we. We want a government where not go take you property, where you provide a door now you generation, now you family for generations because then get power. And you want a government who will give more power to the courts. And for the courts then get more power, the courts then get the judges then get for more protection. Then get more protection. And more security in their job. But for them forget that security and protection day, like Mr. Jesmed Suma said, we get for talk about integrity. We'll get for talk about moral fitness. So we get for begin for re-examine and try for actually pick out the people who want to make judges in our country, because all this thing get for go hand in glove. No matter how the president try, if you get judges, then way they take bribes. If you get judges, then we not care how the system runs. If you get judges, then we go pull you in your house, where you build and work for, and pretend like you know nothing that you own and get into somebody who can't get money in a corner. We need judges, then we'll go all lawyers, them accountable. Lawyers the way they engage on unethical conduct, conflict of interest. So it's a tough job. So for the one that we want to run for going to government, somebody need for to remind them. For say not for going to government, get government motorcade in a government quarter, go to parliament, make a whole lot of noise. It's heavy lifting. It's a serious job. Okay, so if you're not able to you just go there because of the prominence of being a parliamentarian or the prominence of being the president, but besides that, and then the power to be able to do as you please, not trying to act within the law. If that's your motivation, we need to start talking about that. I like Mr. Suma in position on the tripartite. I've been talking about it. People like to talk about this tripartite all at once. It will never, ever. I mean, that's a common sense. Sierra Leone, APC get a history. Who would support APC, we ignore all the bad history of APC. SLPP get a history. I don't know why people have such difficulty for understand. All you get for do and go look at them two governments here. No matter if one you rule for 10 years, the other one rule for 5 years. To me, it's like comparing Tifman. You say, well, this Tifman kind of Miosi broke into Miosi T5 television. Then another Tifman kind broke into Miosi Chief 3. You say, well, then you begin praise one of them. Say, the one will be Chief 3 and a better Tifman because at least in 3, he left 2 for me. No, the act of stealing and breaking into your house is just deplorable. That's what you should be looking at. So when people in the beginning for talk, well, who's one that rule passing company? Who's one rule for 20 years? No, that's not the way you look at it. Now the effect, the adverse effect, the bad effect we get on the country, whether in a 4-year, 3-year, 10-year, who's good that ruling they do for the country and that rule for the focus. If somebody can tell me, say, well, where SLPP then a power 10 years since independence? Look at all what they do. And I think they can make a good case of that. Because I grew up in the Eastern Province, Upper Bambara Chiefdom, Kalang District. Before me left Sierra Leone, there were very impressive developments where I don't think people need to do their homework. If when I want to argue, then point there. During me on term, because my papa is a businessman, the farmers then get a cooperative, when I have what we call credit union, where during off-season, they can able to go trust money for sustain them family, pay them picking them school fees, na high school. Because I be there but in school, I go school with a lot of my brothers then when I Muslim in there, but they were teaming in Limba Fula. I can name so many of them. You know, so we get a mixture. A lot of these people, particularly people from the Eastern Province, particularly, then parents them, now be members of the cooperative, and they get money for paying them picking them boarding fee. Okay, we get a system in place. You know, we get so many things going. Before me left Upper Bambara Chiefdom, they had already instituted a pump system, which was very novel and fantastic and exciting. Because for all the years I grew up there, now the water well, we get for go away and you get for walk a distance for go get water. Now the well, open well, not even well we covered. It just did it. We're all at the mercy of God. We just, everybody, they can't get water. I think animal themselves, they can't drink or everything that they will be get water. But SLPP had managed to build, there was a company called Digremont Water Supply. Then they build tanks and reservoirs and introduce pump system in the country. Now that part of the country, people, because which means people then livelihood and a living condition were uplifted from walking all the way in that bush road, risking being bitten by snakes or attacked by animal. Poor people and mostly women and children, they will go to them place there to go get water and come back. So water supply, tank system were introduced. Pump system. As we speak now, those things are vanished. They were never kept up. During the same time, there was a company, an Italian company called Vianini Road Company. They were building masterpiece roads in that area, in the area, trying to develop the system. So for whoever want to argue politics or party, go back on a search on a history and make them comparison there. But it's so disappointing for us listening to people in the diaspora, in America, in Canada, in Australia, in England. Educated people, and go back home for lead the country, then still hung up on this political party. I call it foolishness. Knowing full well that these two parties have been nothing but utter failure. Everything we had before have been ruined. There was a time when forest industry was the best manufacturer of furniture. When you buy forest industry furniture, if you can afford it, you have arrived. You are successful, because very few people could afford forest industry, the quality of furniture and the beauty of it for putting at the house. It was manufactured there in Sierra Leone. Okay? What happened to all this development? Then people and they can't scare people around with PhD nonsense. PhD. I have a doctorate degree, but that's not something I think I will even be proud of, because it's nothing to be proud of. In fact, I think people should hold their PhDs in shame, because I know I'm making a blanket statement. There are a lot of PhD people who have done wonders, who are still doing wonders. So please forgive me. But I'm talking about where the placard, then PhD, or then certificate on the wall, and doing nothing for the good of the country. That's where the anger is. So even me talking to you as a lawyer, if I have nothing to offer, all I have to do now for show you certificate on the wall, you never listen to me. And associated, we will get what you call paper tigers then back home. They learn all the book in the world. So there are a lot of things to be talked about. So I hope say this meeting we'll get today with Mr. Jesmed Suma, it will renew or rekindle some interest in people looking outside the two parties there. And like I've said, APC and SLPP, God bless us. If we're going to let the tripartite just depend on the two of them, Sierra Leone has no hope of ever seeing the light of day. I mean, you can take that to the bank. If all it is, you let it go exclude all the other parties them, some of which are run by very, very, very notable people, well-informed, morally upright people, would they exclude them and just give this monopoly to then two parties will get an extensive history of doing nothing but ruining the country. Then we've lost our minds and we will never see the light of day. So with that said, thank you very much for listening. We're glad on call in and make some contribution. Hope we will see each other and hear each other next week. So have a nice evening or nice day wherever you may be. Thank you.